New this morning, the voters in Iowa have spoken.
And this is the third time we've won. But this is the biggest win.
President Trump taking 98 out of 99 counties in the first in the nation caucuses. In a distant second, Governor Ron DeSantis heading to South Carolina ahead of the New Hampshire primary.
They were writing our obituary months ago.
Nikki Haley comes in third, but don't count her out. In-depth analysis as we look ahead to the first in the nation primary. And prank calling an emergency at the White House. We're live with the most high-profile swatting incident, the fake 911 call, who responded to the false alarm, and what's being done to stop these bad actors. New overnight, Iran firing missiles into Iraq, hitting what they say were Israeli spy headquarters, and vowing more punishment for the war against Gaza. The civilians killed and what the U.S. is saying about the latest aggression. We're live in Tel Aviv. And the driver of this skid loader giving himself a one-way ticket to jail. We'll tell you about this wild ride and what his girlfriend is saying. It's Morning in America.
From our NewsNation headquarters, we begin this morning with the results from the Iowa caucus.
Yes, thanks so much for joining us. We have a live look right now at Principal Park in Des Moines, Iowa. President Trump sweeping the Hawkeye State in the first in the nation caucuses, even with expectations that sub-zero temperatures might deter some voters.
And it definitely did not. The night ended with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley in second and third place, respectively, both finishing far behind the former president, and Vivek Ramaswamy ultimately suspending his campaign. Our Emily Finn is live in Des Moines for us this morning. Emily, what are the candidates saying this morning after the dust has settled?
Well, Nick, that's right. The dust has settled for sure. And we know that former President Trump pulled off a historic win here in Iowa, taking the top spot in 98 out of 99 counties. In fact, it's the first time it's happened since caucusing began in 1972 for the frontrunner to have more than 50% of the vote statewide.
This has been an incredible experience. The people have been, this is the third time we've won. But this is the biggest win.
Despite sub-zero temps and record low turnout, the former president's supporters showed up in droves. Most outlets called the night for Trump just 30 minutes after caucusing began. Some caucus goers telling NewsNation they were still in line at their precincts when they saw the announcements coming in, a move that angered second-place winner Ron DeSantis.
They even called the election before people even got a chance to vote.
The Florida governor narrowly held on to the second-place spot, beating out South Carolina's Nikki Haley by barely 2 points. Haley took third, a lackluster showing given her recent boost in the polls. Haley is hoping for a better showing at the next primary event in New Hampshire coming up next week.
When you look at how we're doing in New Hampshire, in South Carolina, and beyond, I can safely say tonight, Iowa made this Republican primary a two-person race.
The field of Republican candidates tightened Monday night. Vivek Ramaswamy suspending his campaign after polling just 7.7% in Iowa, now throwing his support behind Donald Trump. Candidates are recalibrating ahead of the New Hampshire primary, while Trump is holding on to a strong lead in the state. People say, political analysts say, however, that DeSantis is going to have a harder time knocking Nikki Haley off of her second-place standing right now in New Hampshire. Adrienne, Nick.
All right. Thank you very much, Emily. We appreciate all your reporting. Let's get to national political reporter for The Hill, Julia Manchester, also in Iowa for us. So DeSantis' campaign, they're very upset. Some reports they're even claiming election interference when some members of the media called the races early while people were still at the polls, having not cast their ballot. So what exactly happened? And I don't think the question is whether it would have influenced results or not. I mean, all the polls indicate President Trump's massive lead. However, what was the point of the media speaking so soon?
Yeah, Adrienne, it's interesting. I was actually talking to a DeSantis or a spokesperson for Never Back Down, the pro-DeSantis super PAC, and they told me that in Pella, Iowa, Casey DeSantis, the First Lady of Florida, was literally giving a speech at her caucus precinct she was present at when push notifications on caucus goers' phones started going off that President Trump had won the caucuses. Look, I think a lot of times the media make these projections, and they saw a projection in terms of the, the caucus results. They saw a wide lead for Donald Trump, and they pounced on it and called it early. But a lot of DeSantis supporters absolutely upset, saying it was too early to call. At the end of the day, Donald Trump does hold a very wide lead over Governor DeSantis, him coming in second, but very upsetting for the campaign with that initial call.
Well, and I think that a lot of people, a lot of Americans are wondering, where's the accountability in terms of reporting so soon? What's the point? Allow the process to go through. Hopefully the lesson learned for the future caucuses and primaries. In terms of the turnout, we heard from Emily Finn. Obviously, Trump supporters coming out, that passion overriding the need to stay warm and be inside their homes, because obviously there's a lot at stake here in this election. But did it have any impact, even if it was minimal, for Midwesterners who are used to these cold temps in January?
I think it might have had some sort of an impact. We know that caucuses in general are low turnout events. A caucus is much more involved than a primary or a general election. You have to go in and stay for the extent of the caucus meeting. So you might have seen a little lower turnout than usual. However, we've seen, based on the results, this wide lead for Donald Trump, and that signals that what could have been very high turnout for his campaign, or somewhat high turnout. And we know that's important because in a lot of these rural areas, that's where former President Trump really needed to drive up the margins. And there was concern, I think, from some Trump allies that he wouldn't be able to drive up the margins in those rural areas because of the cold temperatures, because of some of the leftover snow and ice really freezing over, making the conditions on the road unsafe. However, we saw that the results sort of mirrored what we were seeing in the polls. I think there were always some caveats on DeSantis and Haley in the polls. DeSantis coming in second instead of third, sort of a flip of what we saw in that final Des Moines Register poll. So his campaign also working to turn out as many people as possible.
Right. And DeSantis now moving to South Carolina, trying to prove a point a little bit here with Nikki Haley in her home state.
Yeah, he's on Nikki Haley's home turf this morning, or he's heading to her home turf this morning. Look, I think this is a strategy not only to sort of needle Haley in her own state in this battle for second place, but I think South Carolina could be friendlier territory to him than, say, in New Hampshire. Look, in New Hampshire, prior to Chris Christie dropping out, DeSantis was polling in roughly fourth place in a number of polls. And there are questions as to whether Christie's support will go to Haley in terms of that never Trump, anti-Trump contingent. But South Carolina is a southern state. It's closer to Florida. So I think that could potentially work in DeSantis's favor. But he is still very much behind Nikki Haley, and the two of them are very much behind Donald Trump in South Carolina. So it's not only Ron DeSantis that has to be worried in South Carolina, but Nikki Haley is also running very far behind in her home state.
All right. Well, we'll see them all head to the Granite State, New Hampshire, for that next primary. Thank you so much. Or first primary in the nation. Julia, we appreciate it. Now that Iowa is a wrap, the attention does turn towards New Hampshire, as we've been talking about. A live look at Portsmouth, New Hampshire this morning, about an hour outside of the what, guys? The capital of Concord. Polling average showing a tighter race than in Iowa, with President Trump leading Nikki Haley by 11 points. Haley, who finished third, is leading Ron DeSantis by 24 points in that state. Stick around. Later this morning, we'll be speaking with Governor Kristen Nunu about this week's primary. Don't want to miss it. Nick?
Adrienne, thank you. New this morning, Iranian missile strikes in northern Iraq, killing 4 people and injuring 6 more in an attack the U.S. is calling, quote, reckless. The Islamic Republic attacking an alleged Israeli spy headquarters in the semi-autonomous Kurdish region. This as Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen hit yet another commercial ship in the Red Sea. Our Robert Sherman is live in Tel Aviv with the latest. Robert, this is definitely escalating tension in the area.
Yeah, Nick, something that people are keeping a very close eye on here. So a lot to get you caught up on here this morning. But as you laid it out, what we saw late last night were missiles fired by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard targeting spots in both northern Syria as well as Kurdistan in Iraq. What they're saying this morning, the Revolutionary Guard, is that what they were targeting in Iraq was a headquarters for the Mossad, which is Israel's spy agency. You heard what the U.S. has said to all of this, describing this whole situation as reckless. The Israelis are not commenting on this at this point. And then what you had in Syria, that seems to be different. But what the Revolutionary Guard there is saying is that this was to go after terrorist cells that were operating in that area. But the way that you framed this, Nick, just add it to the tension that is here in the region right now. That's what's going on with Iran and Iraq and Syria. Then shift your focus over to the Red Sea, where yesterday we saw a missile striking a U.S. cargo ship. No injuries were reported, but this was in response to the strikes that were carried out by the U.S. and the U.K. late last week. The Houthis in Yemen saying today that they intend to continue targeting U.S. ships. Now, remember the geopolitical strings here. The Houthis have the support of Iran, and the Iranian foreign minister had this to say about the Middle East nearing a boiling point. Take a listen.
The United States cannot call for restraint while supporting Israel or provoke a conflict in the Red Sea by attacking Yemen while claiming that it does not want a wider war in the region.
Qatar's prime minister speaking moments ago saying the world needs to get a handle on the tension immediately or the whole situation will spiral out of control.
What we have right now in the region is a recipe of escalation everywhere. And even we cannot disconnect this from the attack, for example, in Kerman in Iran a few weeks ago by ISIS. Normally, when you see any turbulence in the region, you start to see different players popping up.
Now, you've had some, such as Prime Minister Rishi Sunak in the UK, framing what's going on in the Red Sea as different than what's been happening in Gaza and Palestine. But you heard what the Prime Minister of Qatar there said. At the end of the day, they are all intertwined, according to his opinion, and he believes that the best way in order to alleviate the tension in the region is a two-state solution. Obviously easier said than done, considering that this has been on the table for decades. But something that he said that was worth noting here is that the Palestinians will have to have a conversation as well about what the future of Hamas will look like after this war is over. And those are questions that he said are still not answered. Adrienne?
It's a little early to talk about the war being over. I know that they're in it for the long haul. Thank you very much, Robert. Right. Emergency responders rushing to the White House on Monday morning in the most high-profile prank call and false alarm yet. What someone told 911 dispatchers and how law enforcement is trying to stop these hoaxes.
And it was for better or worse for this bride arrested in Mexico on her wedding day. White embroidery lace dress and all. But authorities are accusing her of and who they say were her accomplices.
Still winter. Let's check your national forecast. Brutal cold continues to dominate a lot of the country. Wind chills in the minus 20s to minus 30s in the Midwest and Northern Plains. We will see a little bit milder weather arriving late this week. Extreme cold alerts, though, from the Canadian border all the way down to Mexico, while a snow mix is impacting the East Coast along the Pacific Northwest. D.C., Philly, New York City finally breaking their snowless streaks, while ice impacts travel in the southeast and another storm brings more ice to the Oregon coast.
Take a breath of fresh air with the Stanley Steamer Air Duct Cleaning. We clean over 10 million feet of air ducts each year with our specialized trucks built by us, removing the contaminants from your home. For cleaner indoor air, call 1-800-STEAMER.
Bye-bye cough.
Later chest congestion. Hello, 12 hours of relief.
12 hours?
Mucinex DM gives you 12 hours of relief from chest congestion in any cough, day or night. Mucinex DM. It's comeback season. Now try Mucinex Insta-Soothe Sore Throat Medicated Drops.
When my doctor gave me Breztri for my COPD, things changed for me. Breztri gave me better breathing, symptom improvement, and reduced flare-ups.
Breztri won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. It is not for asthma. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking it. Don't take Breztri more than prescribed. Breztri may increase your risk of thrush, pneumonia, and osteoporosis. Call your doctor if worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain occur.
Ask your doctor about Breztri.
It's easy to think that all money managers are pretty much the same. But at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different how? You sell high commission investment products, right?
Nope, Fisher avoids them.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Never at Fisher Investments.
Okay, then you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we structure our fees so we do better when clients do better. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Diabetes can serve up a lot of questions, like what is your glucose and can you have more carbs? Before you decide. With the Freestyle Libre 3 system, know your glucose and where it's heading. No finger sticks needed. Now the world's smallest and thinnest sensor sends your glucose levels directly to your smartphone. Manage your diabetes with more confidence and lower your A1C, the #1 CGM prescribed in the U.S. Try it for free at freestylelibre.us.
Professor Lewis. Dr. Freud. Why would you come to see me if you disagree so passionately with my views?
To make you realize that you're wrong.
Well done. Good.
You've insisted the very concept of God is ludicrous.
An insidious lie.
Well, I disagree.
Of course you disagree. You hide behind your ignorance.
Truth is, you're terrified.
We're all terrified before death.
Freud's Last Session, rated PG-13, now playing select cities only in theaters.
Here's why you should switch from Google to DuckDuckGo on all your devices. DuckDuckGo comes with a built-in search engine like Google, but it's private and doesn't spy on your searches. And DuckDuckGo lets you browse like Chrome, but it blocks cookies and creepy ads that follow you around from Google and other companies. And there's no catch. It's free. We make money from ads, but they don't follow you around. Join the millions of people taking back their privacy by downloading DuckDuckGo on all your devices today.
Everybody says that they're different and they're going to be better.
Big fan of the show. Big fan of you, too. I think you stand with integrity, man. I like that about you.
But the proof is always in your actions.
Sue and I have been watching you for a long time. This is the best you've ever been.
I'm willing to do what's hard in order to help.
I love you, Chris, and thank you so much for what you do for us. You put out the truth, and that's what we need in this world. Thank you, brother. Go get them.
CUOMO, weeknights at 8, 7 Central on NewsNation.
Welcome back. We're expecting a major announcement this morning in the Gilgo Beach murders in New York City.
Suspect Rex Heuermann could be charged with a fourth murder now. Kelsey Kernstein is here with the very latest. Kelsey?
Yeah, Adrienne and Nick, prosecutors are calling this a major development in the case. Now, Rex Heuermann, he's expected to be in court in just the next couple of hours. Now, this new charge is believed to be related to the death of 25-year-old Maureen Brainerd Barnes. She was one of the so-called Gilgo Four. Her remains were found near Gilgo Beach back in December of 2010. Now, Heuermann has already been charged in the murders of 3 victims, Melissa Bartholomew, Amber Costello, and Megan Waterman last July. Although he has already been considered the prime suspect in the Brainerd Barnes death, prosecutors reportedly did not have enough evidence in July to charge him with her murder. But prosecutors do have at least one piece of evidence that could be crucial in the case. It was the belt that was used to strangle Brainerd Barnes to death.
They have the belt, and they've always had that belt. They've had it for years, and that was the belt that was used to bind her. It was found on her, and the initials were thought to be MH or WH, depending on how you sort of looked at that. We do know that Heuermann has a relative, William Heuermann, and so that could be what it stands for, but obviously we don't know for sure. I believe it was reported that there was a hair that was found on that belt.
10 years, the Gilgo Beach murders baffled authorities and terrorized residents on Long Island's South Shore. The remains of at least 11 people were found in that area, 4 of which believed to now be connected. Now, investigators linked Heuermann to the killings through DNA evidence. They matched a hair found on one of the victims' DNA in a thrown-out pizza crust from Heuermann's trash. Now, the remains of at least 11 people found in that area. Of course, this is all believed to be connected. Now, also, it is believed that Heuermann he has been charged against, he's been against all charges in the case, and he will appear in court this morning. This is all expected to be at 9:30 this morning.
Kelsey, there's so much here to follow with all of this, and I know that this is a case that so many families really want closure. Kelsey Kernstein live for us this morning. Kelsey, thank you. Let's bring in trial attorney Mercedes Colwin to help us break down everything that Kelsey just reported. Mercedes, so many different clues here have kept families wanting more answers and more answers from Mr. Heuermann himself. Rex Heuermann was charged with the murders of 3 sex workers last summer. Why did it take so long for authorities to possibly connect Heuermann with this 4th victim?
Great to be on with you as always, Nick. Thanks for having me. Well, certainly it is just good police work. They are taking their time to ensure that the prosecution will be successful. So that's part of the reason why they're doing so. A lot of this, as you know, is going to boil down to the modality of the way these individuals were murdered allegedly by Rex Heuermann. We're talking about how they were their bodies were disposed of, where they were disposed of, how they were disposed of. All of them were wrapped in a burlap wrap. And then thirdly is whether there's any sort of DNA evidence. We don't know definitively if there's any DNA evidence with respect to Ms. Brainard Barnes, but we do know that there's other DNA evidence that links him to the other victims. But here's the bottom line here on Brainard Barnes. She has all of the same data as the others. Number 1, she was a sex worker. Number 2, she was obviously her remains were found there. And then 3, there might be, although that's not reported definitively, there's cell data allegedly linked to the cell phones of these victims to burner phones that Rex Heuermann allegedly had. And then this belt, and as you heard from the reporter, Nick, that belt could be either MH, WH, it's all dependent on whether that, but if they're going to actually definitively charge him on that, we know that a lot of evidence was taken from Rex Heuermann's home. There might be a picture with that belt in there. Obviously, that is critical evidence that the prosecutors can use directly linking Rex Heuermann to the death of Brainard Barnes.
Not only prosecutors, Mercedes, but you mentioned that belt, and we heard that in Kelsey's report. We can also expect defense counsel to use that to say, wait a minute, you don't know who this is. Is it an M? Is it a W? All of these things are things that they will look to pick apart, correct?
Great, excellent point. Exactly right, Nick. They could, do that. They're already going to pick apart the case because obviously the decomposition of the bodies. It has been years since these young women were obviously killed and then found. So that decomposition of the bodies really do decompose any DNA evidence that could be found. So that's going to be one huge hurdle that the prosecutors will have to overcome. And then, of course, Rex Heuermann himself. He lived an ordinary, successful life. He was a successful architect in New York City. He was even featured on documentaries on being a successful architect in the city. So when you look at the person who's charged of the murders of these young women, and then you look at what he lived like day to day, a father of 2 children, happily married, allegedly, all of these things, that huge dichotomy, you have to overcome even the optics of the case.
And Mercedes, last question I have for you, because I have less than a minute. After today, we know that Heuermann will likely be charged with 4 murders. Yet you've stated this will be a hard case to prosecute. How will they move forward?
Well, certainly today, it'll just be an ordinary case, an ordinary appearance before the judge. He will certainly just say not guilty like he did with the 3 other victims. So he certainly will just go through that ordinary process. And then you have lots of hearings on whether or not any of this evidence will actually get before the jury. There are hurdles, there's procedural hurdles to whether or not these juries will actually get the evidence. We, covering this, may know much more than the jury will ultimately know during the course of the trial.
Mercedes Colwin, so much more to uncover here. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Well, here's another bizarre case, not quite as bizarre as the Gilgo Beach murders, but a man is facing charges for ramming a police squad car with construction equipment. How police managed to get him off of the skid loader and what his girlfriend claims was the cause of his bizarre behavior. And the 75th Primetime Emmy Awards was a night full of TV reunions and big wins. What you may have missed, including the newest EGOT.
Why did we choose Safelite? We were loading our SUV when crack. Safelite came right to us, and we could see exactly when they'd arrive with a replacement we could trust. That's service the way we want it.
Safelite repair, Safelite replace.
Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance, and I saved hundreds.
That's great.
I know, I've been telling everyone.
Liberty.
Liberty. How many people did you tell? Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, liberty, liberty. Liberty.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. If you have or are eligible for Medicaid, please listen closely. You may be eligible for a Medicare Advantage plan from WellCare with a $0 or low plan premium. Call now. We can answer your questions and help you enroll over the phone. WellCare provides access to essential benefits that go beyond original Medicare, such as dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage with free home delivery, free over-the-counter healthcare items, free fitness benefits, and WellCare's telehealth services, including online doctor visits. Plus, extra benefits including the WellCare Spendables debit cards, which you can use for additional dental, vision, and hearing costs, gas and groceries, as well as over-the-counter health items. WellCare is contracted with Medicare to provide plans that may be right for you. Call 1-844-694-3632. Now, that's 1-844-694-3632.
At Consumer Cellular, you get the same exact coverage as the largest carriers for up to half the price.
That's
Barbara?
Sorry, I was muted. That's amazing.
I know, right?
Sore throat got your tongue? Mucinex Insta-Sue Sore Throat Medicated Drops. Uniquely formulated for rapid relief that lasts and lasts.
That's my baby!
Get Mucinex Insta-Sue. It's comeback season.
Attention, former Marines and family members stationed at Camp Lejeune. If you lived or worked at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina for at least 30 days from August 1953 through December 1987 and have been diagnosed with cancer, neurobehavioral effects, had a child born with birth defects, were diagnosed with fertility issues or more, you may qualify for significant financial compensation. Call Saddle Rock Legal Group now to discuss your case. It has been proven that the water at Camp Lejeune during those years was extremely contaminated with toxic chemicals. A new law passed by Congress now allows veterans and their surviving family members to bring lawsuits and potentially recover damages for harm from exposure to contaminated water at Camp Lejeune. Don't wait until it's too late. It only takes a few minutes and the call is completely free. Call Saddle Rock Legal Group to discuss your case now.
Call 1-800-773-6677. That's 1-800-773-6677.
Welcome back. The House is still set to vote on whether or not to hold Hunter Biden in contempt of Congress later this week.
Yeah, the impending vote happening as House committee leaders say they intend to issue new subpoenas to the president's son, and Biden's lawyers saying he'll comply with them even if they call for closed-door testimony. Tom Dempsey joins us live at the Capitol with more. Tom, this is definitely a shift in Hunter's legal strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. Caught some people by surprise, that new legal strategy. Nick, good morning. We know we're moving closer this morning to the full House holding a vote against Hunter Biden to hold him in contempt of Congress. Later today, a committee will be holding a meeting to discuss that very measure. And as of now, this upcoming Thursday, the House will vote on whether or not to send that contempt of Congress charge to the Department of Justice. This committee meeting happening later today comes after a truly circus-like day here on Capitol Hill last week when Hunter Biden showed up as lawmakers discussed this contempt of Congress charge. House Republicans want to interview the president's son behind closed doors as they investigate allegations that then Vice President Joe Biden made money off his son's business dealings. Now, no direct evidence supports those claims yet, but after Hunter Biden's legal team first defied a subpoena to appear, now they say the president's son will comply with an order if a new subpoena gets issued now that the impeachment inquiry has been authorized. Despite Hunter Biden's willingness to appear now, House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer says the full House vote on the contempt charge still remains on schedule for Thursday until the president's son confirms a date to appear for a private deposition. In a letter with Congressman Jim Jordan, the lawmakers wrote, quote, "While we are heartened that Hunter Biden now says he will comply with the subpoena, make no mistake, Hunter has already defied two valid lawful subpoenas. For now, the House will move forward with holding Hunter Biden in contempt of Congress." We also know that House Republicans plan to issue brand new subpoenas in the coming weeks. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, again, as mentioned, his schedule still has that vote scheduled for this upcoming Thursday on that contempt of Congress charge. Scalise posting to social media recently saying that Hunter Biden is not above the law. Guys.
All right, Tom, of course, we're watching that as well as all of the other news coming out of Washington. Thank you so much. Let's get a look at some of the stories you'll be talking about around the breakfast table this morning.
Absolutely. Kelsey's here with what's in the mix. Good morning, Kelsey.
Adrienne and Nick, this story might shock you. So a bride has been arrested on her wedding day in Mexico. The suspect has been identified as Nancy N., and she was taken into custody with her white dress and all. But her would-be husband, Clement N., managed to escape. The couple has been accused of extorting chicken merchants near Mexico City. They are suspected of kidnapping 4 workers from a poultry shop. 6 other suspects have also been arrested for their roles in the extortion scheme. Now let's go ahead and take a look at this.
Guy's going crazy with the skid loader.
A man is seen ramming a skid loader into a squad car in Nebraska this week. According to reports, he also damaged multiple other vehicles and businesses in the area. Now you can see the officer then drawing his gun, finally getting the man out of the machine. He now faces multiple charges, assault on an officer and criminal mischief. Now the man's girlfriend claims sleep deprivation and prescription meds may have caused the bizarre behavior. Apple is doing away with its pulse oximetry feature on its latest smartwatches. The new move is to avoid a ban on the device. Now, the iPhone maker has been in an ongoing patent dispute with medical technology company Masimo. The U.S. International Trade Commission ruled that the feature violated Masimo's blood oxygen measurement patent. Now, Apple was able to put together a workaround and got rid of the technology. Well, the Emmy Awards were Monday night, and it was full of TV reunions and big wins. Christina Applegate received a standing ovation from the audience when she came on stage. Now, she presented the awards for Outstanding Supporting and Leading Actresses. She was diagnosed with MS back in 2021.
Some of you may know me as Kelly Bundy from Married with Children. Thank you. We don't have to applaud every time I do something.
But she was not the only one who got a standing ovation. In fact, the cast of Cheers reunited on stage inside a replica of the iconic Boston Bar. It was to honor some of the most beloved shows in TV history.
This feels really nice to be here in front of all of you. Thank you.
Look, Ted, don't you just think of it as a long overdue class reunion, huh?
And being together brings back some great memories of a show we're all very proud of.
Elton John officially joined the EGOT Club when he won an Emmy Award for his Disney Plus special. He was not at the awards, though, to accept his win, and he is recovering from a knee operation. But it was Niecy Nash's winning speech for supporting actress in the limited series that had the crowd smiling. Take a listen.
And you know who I want to thank? I want to thank me for believing in me and doing what they said I could not do. And I want to say to myself in front of all you beautiful people, go on, girl, with your bad self.
I think we all love her. She won for her role in the Dahmer Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Adrienne, Nick, that's all I got right now.
I wish I would have been. Okay.
I've met her on red carpets, and she is just as sweet and funny.
And is real?
Oh,
okay.
She will tell you the truth.
I love that. Congratulations.
Yes. And I like that she was congratulating herself.
Yes, she
and I
was.
love that Cheers reenactment. Oh my gosh, Cheers. Wow. Well, the NFL's wild card weekend wrapped up Monday with an unplanned holiday doubleheader.
Listen, I knew better than to talk too much smack about this because there are too many Eagles fans in the building, and I wanted to make it in and out safely, okay? A winter storm in upstate New York pushed the Bills-Steelers game back a day, and as for that was originally scheduled for Monday, well, that game was this.
Answers on the offensive side of the ball.
2nd and 4. Here's another broken tackle. This is the rookie Trey Palmer, and he is gone. Touchdown, Buccaneers.
Listen, Baker Mayfield was on fire. Former #1 pick Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucks lit up the Eagles' defense on Monday night en route to a 32-9 win over the defending NFC champs. This after starting the season 10-1. The Eagles closed out their year losing 5 of 6. In Buffalo, it was the Josh Allen show. One guy was walking around without a coat. He says, yeah, it's cold in Buffalo, but I got Josh Allen to keep me warm. The Bills quarterback threw for 3 touchdowns and ran for another 31-17 win over the Steelers on Monday afternoon. Buffalo has now won a postseason game in 4 consecutive years. That's the first time they've done that since 1993, when they went to 4 straight Super Bowls. With that, the divisional round matchups are now set on Saturday. The Ravens host the Texans at 4:30 Eastern. The Packers and 49ers square off at 8:15 Eastern. Then on Sunday, it's the Buccaneers and Lions in the early game at 3 o'clock. And kick the night off at night is Buffalo and the Bills. Buffalo will host the Chiefs at 6:30 Eastern, and I think that's the game, Adrienne, that may have a lot of people coming in on Monday with a bit of a hangover or tired or dragging their feet.
Or the itis or something.
Yes, or something.
Something is going to keep them in bed, probably late night partying. All right, thank you, Nick. On Monday, the White House became the latest target in a dangerous nationwide trend.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. It's not funny and it's dangerous. It's called swatting, where a false report is made to 911 in order to draw a large emergency response. Our Evan Lambert is live in Washington this morning with more on this incident at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Evan, good morning.
Good morning, Nick, Adrienne. This most likely swatting call, according to a source familiar, drew a chaotic emergency response to the White House just yesterday morning, now adding to the list of institutions and politicians who have been targets of this hoax designed to create a chaotic response, often involving the SWAT team, hence the name swatting. Now to the details of this incident at the White House. A 911 call coming in just before 7 yesterday, reporting a fire with someone trapped inside the executive mansion. President Biden and the First Lady were not there at the time. Still, fire crews raced to the White House, quickly determining it was a fake call, likely coming from a spoofed number. In the last few weeks, swatting has targeted members of Congress and other politicians from both parties at a time when the Department of Justice is monitoring a surge in politically motivated threats against public officials. Some of the victims, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, Boston Mayor Michelle Wu, and at least 2 judges in the cases pending against former President Donald Trump, federal judge Tanya Chutkan, and New York's Supreme Court Judge Arthur Engoron. And since the war broke out between Israel and Hamas, a surge of swatting caused major police responses at hundreds of synagogues across the country. The FBI is saying those likely came from outside the country and were connected. Law enforcement fighting back by charging suspects at the local and federal level. Just one example, the FBI arrested a California juvenile last month running an online-based swatting ring. In 2019, one swatter got sentenced to 15 years in prison after a hoax hostage situation he called into the wrong address led the police to shoot and kill a surprised resident.
Look, it's an abuse of the 911 system. As I stated, it puts first responders at great risk unnecessarily. And ultimately, people do need to be held accountable and stop doing this type of thing. But as we know, there's bad actors out there that are going to wish to cause havoc, not only for first responders, but ultimately for the intended targets.
And according to the Anti-Defamation League, swatting leaves a big bill for taxpayers. Just one call, an emergency response associated with that, can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Guys.
All right. Thank you very much, Evan. We have some breaking news to report right now. U.S. Central Command announcing it has seized advanced conventional weapons from Iran that were en route to Houthi rebels in Yemen. Of course, you know, Houthi rebels are the ones who've been firing on commercial ships as well as U.S. military ships since the war in Israel and Hamas began. U.S. Navy SEALs discovering those weapons on a boat off the coast of Somalia. The weapons included components of Iranian-made ballistic missiles. And the Houthis, again, launching that barrage of attacks on major shipping routes since the start of the war. We are going to continue to follow this story. Those 2 U.S. Navy SEALs who went missing off the coast of Somalia, that was in the same region where this latest news is coming from.
And Adrienne, so much of this area is in so tense right now. So we're keeping an eye on it.
Historically.
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's just getting more and more intense.
Well, listen, the 2024 Iowa caucuses are in the books.
Nikki Haley, she came in 3rd. She was predicted to potentially be number 2, but we are going to be speaking with one of her most ardent supporters about what's next as the focus moves to New Hampshire and South Carolina. Stay with us.
I think I changed my mind about these glasses.
Yeah, it happens. That's why VisionWorks gives you 100 days to change your mind. It's simple. Anything else I can help you with?
Like what?
VisionWorks. See the difference.
Life doesn't stop for a cold.
Honey.
Honey.
DayQuil Severe Honey. Powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honeylicious taste. DayQuil Honey. The honeylicious daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head fever, power through your day medicine.
Explore the world the Viking way. From the quiet comfort of elegant small ships with no children and no casinos. We actually have reinvented ocean voyages, designing all-inclusive experiences for the thinking person. Viking, voted world's best by both Travel and Leisure and Condé Nast Traveler. Learn more at Viking.com.
When you've tried everything.
I was getting chemical peels, bleaching cream.
This is melasma. I'm trying to get rid of it. I've tried everything.
Introducing Muesli Face RX, prescription skincare delivered straight to your door. The spot cream is 10 times more potent than over-the-counter and prescription alternatives, so you'll finally see a difference.
My skin looks amazing.
It's amazing.
I'm a loyal customer forever.
See for yourself at muesli.com/TV.
When you have moderate to severe eczema, it's okay to show off. With Dupixent, show off your clearer skin and less itch, because you have plenty of reasons to show off your skin. With Dupixent, the #1 prescribed biologic by dermatologists and allergists, you can stay ahead of your eczema. It helps block a key source of inflammation inside the body that can cause eczema to help heal your skin from within. Many adults saw 90% clearer skin. Some even achieved long-lasting clearer skin and fast itch relief after first dose. Serious allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems, such as eye pain or vision changes, including blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines without talking to your doctor. Show off to the world. Ask your eczema specialist about Dupixent.
Here's why you should switch from Google to DuckDuckGo on all your devices. DuckDuckGo comes with a built-in search engine like Google, but it's private and doesn't spy on your searches. And DuckDuckGo lets you browse like Chrome, but it blocks cookies and creepy ads that follow you around from Google and other companies. And there's no catch. It's free. We make money from ads, but they don't follow you around. Join the millions of people taking back their privacy by downloading DuckDuckGo on all your devices today.
Mornings. The golden hour of cold and flu symptoms.
I'm feeling better.
Cough? Congestion?
All in one and done with new Mucinex Kickstart.
Oh, hated that. Headache?
Better.
Fever, body pain.
Better now.
New Mucinex Kickstart gives all-in-one and done relief with a morning jolt of instant cooling sensation. It's not cold and flu season. It's comeback season.
Our campaign is the last best hope of stopping the Trump-Biden nightmare.
Okay, well, guess what? President Trump swept Iowa, waking up to a historic victory. You saw it. You've been seeing it all overnight if you were up early in the morning like so many of us are. The former president winning 98 of 99 counties with more than 50% of the vote. For some people, they woke up and were elated. Other people, angry or frustrated or feeling like this is another nightmare repeated. But the candidates are turning their attention to New Hampshire, hoping to gain momentum ahead of the next primary, which is just 1 week away. So it's all snowballing from here. Joining us right now is Ashley Davis, former White House official under the Bush administration. Thank you very much for making time to speak with us on this crucial day as we look forward to November. It's going to be right around the corner here. So let's talk first about Governor DeSantis. There was this big battle between Nikki Haley and he for second. A lot of Americans wondering, why does it even matter when President Trump has such a great lead? But still, the two are remaining in the race, Haley taking third out of Iowa. What will Haley, you think, or DeSantis need to do to maintain the momentum they have following the Iowa caucuses?
Well, in regards, good morning, first of all. I'm sure
Thank
you
you.
guys are
Good morning.
tired. It's been a long night and morning already. I actually think that in regards to Nikki, she's probably where most expected. I think the thing that in regards to expectations that happened is the poll that just came out right before saying she was in second place. So the fact that she did come in the close third, it was probably a disappointment to a lot of her supporters. However, she's always said that she was going to be strongest in New Hampshire and then go on to South Carolina. So I don't think that this sets her back at all. I will be on calls later today with her team, and there's nothing that's changed in that regard. I think what's really happening is Governor DeSantis coming in second by a significant margin, and we can't ignore how well that former President Trump did do. But I think for DeSantis is where's his path. So he is going to South Carolina next, which obviously it's Nikki's home state, but it's also President Trump does have a big following there. He will go to New Hampshire this evening for the debate. However, he is pulling super low there. So in regards to his financial support, I don't know where he goes next, but what happened last night was it lets him have a little bit of breathing room, at least for the next couple weeks.
Breathing room, or can he afford to breathe? Because you have worked with administrations. What type of strategy do either of them have when they, again, I'm seeing the progress. I'm seeing that they still are in it to win it. And at the same time, most people would say it's over. If President Trump performed the way he did in Iowa, the race has already been called. What do you say to those voters who think that way?
Well, if he continues to do as well as he did in Iowa, I mean, obviously that was the state. And I have to say, and I'm surprised I'm saying this, the polling actually was very, very, very close in regards to the final results. I mean, they said Vivek was going to get around 6-7%. Nikki and DeSantis were always within 1 or 2 points of each other. And then President Trump was supposed to win by as much as he did, which was very significant. However, you have to remember, if Nikki and Trump have a very, very good close call, if Nikki wins or loses by a couple, or President wins, loses by a couple, you go into South Carolina, and then all his legal battles happen. And, we go into Super Tuesday, and Nikki has the money to go into Super Tuesday, and probably the momentum after New Hampshire is what happens when all the people see him getting in so much trouble in regards to some of the lawsuits that will be coming down, especially with the Supreme Court and others.
So is that what Republicans who want a Trump alternate are hoping for? Is it really about that second place position so that if all the chips fall for the former president, there's somebody waiting in the wings if chaos ensues with these legal battles?
I actually think it's more the momentum. I mean, this is what this whole game's about, right? It's kind of when I started at the beginning with Nikki, quote, coming in, this close third. I mean, does it really set her back that much in New Hampshire? Maybe, but I don't really think so. I think that we have to remember that obviously Iowa was very important for momentum, but not very many people that won in Iowa actually became the candidate. Now, obviously, President Trump won by a lot, but we had Ted Cruz that won. We had Rick Santorum that won. I mean, I can go on and on. New Hampshire's the same way. I remember when I did the Bush campaign, we lost. We were supposed to win New Hampshire and ended up losing to McCain by 18 points. Right. So all these primary states, are crucial. But going back to DeSantis for a second, the issue with Governor DeSantis, which is different than Nikki, is DeSantis's people that vote for him are more Trump people than Nikki's. And so I think that's the difference between Nikki running against Trump and Trump running against DeSantis.
Yeah. We've seen a lot of that. People. Yeah, we've seen a lot of that opinion is that she's attracting more independents and more Democrats to her side. Ashley Davis, thank you. We know that you're a big supporter of Nikki Haley, and we're appreciating your time right here on Morning in America.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks.
One thing is true. There's a lot of fun campaigning to go, Adrienne.
Well, I mean, the political embeds and our teams that are out there on the ground in Iowa, especially during this cold freeze that we've had, man, there's a lot of work ahead of us.
A whole lot.
Yeah.
Well, is there trouble brewing at Boeing? Some say it will take years to regain trust after a mid-air incident earlier this month. We'll break down the newest issues facing the plane manufacturer and the possible ripple effect on travelers.
Bye-bye, cough.
Later, chest congestion. Hello, 12 hours of relief.
12 hours?
Mucinex DM gives you 12 hours of relief from chest congestion in any cough, day or night. Mucinex DM. It's comeback season. Now try Mucinex InstaSoothe sore throat medicated drops.
This old, tired phone can't be traded in.
That's a bit dramatic.
I'm stuck with it forever.
A better plan is Verizon.
For limited time, trade in any Samsung phone in any condition for a new Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus on us. Only on Verizon.
Right now, get a free footlong at Subway. Like the new Deli Heroes. Buy 1 footlong in the app, get 1 free.
It's a pretty big deal.
Kinda like me. Order in the Subway app today.
I am embarrassed to say this, but I've been using deodorant on my armpits for the past 40 years. And yet anytime I noticed odor anywhere else, I thought I needed a second shower, I wasn't clean, or there was something wrong with me. And then my gynecologist told me about Lumi. It's a whole body deodorant for pits, feet, and privates that controls odor anywhere and everywhere on your body. I tried it and I noticed a difference right away. Everywhere. You won't realize the body odor you've just been living with until you try Lumi and it's gone. Go to lumideo.com to build your customized bundle today.
Here's why you should switch from Google to DuckDuckGo on all your devices. DuckDuckGo comes with a built-in search engine like Google, but it's private and doesn't spy on your searches. And DuckDuckGo lets you browse like Chrome, but it blocks cookies and creepy ads that follow you around from Google and other companies. And there's no catch. It's free. We make money from ads, but they don't follow you around. Join the millions of people taking back their privacy by downloading DuckDuckGo on all your devices today.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, she came out fighting. 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on, 5 different medications. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx can save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. You do the math. The money we're able to save with using GoodRx, we're able to do all these extra activities. She can hit hard, too, for a little skinny thing. So it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
I think I changed my mind about these glasses.
Yeah, it happens. That's why VisionWorks gives you 100 days to change your mind. It's simple. Anything else I can help you with?
Like what?
VisionWorks. See the difference.
If you have Graves' disease, your eye symptoms could mean something more. That gritty feeling can't be brushed away. Even a little blurry vision can distort things, and something serious may be behind those itchy eyes. Up to 50% of people with Graves could develop a different condition called thyroid eye disease, which should be treated by a different doctor. See an expert. Find a TED eye specialist at isitted.com.
This important message is for Marines and family members who spent 30 days on base at Camp Lejeune prior to 1988.
As a U.S. military veteran, I'm here to inform you that if you or someone you love has been diagnosed with cancer, Parkinson's, or other serious health issues after spending time at Camp Lejeune, you may qualify for financial compensation. Call now to determine your eligibility.
I called to see if I qualify. They helped me a lot.
Leaking chemical storage tanks at Camp Lejeune contaminated the drinking water with highly toxic chemicals. Marines and their family members have been diagnosed with multiple cancers and other serious health issues. But there is now a new law that gives victims the opportunity to receive financial compensation for their illnesses without going to court.
I finally got some answers. I'm glad I called.
You need to call now to see if you qualify. It costs you nothing if you don't win.
Call 800-817-9413. 800-817-9413.
More trouble for Boeing. The plane manufacturer will have additional quality inspectors for its grounded 737 MAX 9 fleet.
This comes after a door plug blew out during an Alaska Airlines flight at 16,000 feet earlier this month. An investigation also revealing some loose bolts on exit doors on other planes as well. Xavier Walton is live with an update for us. Xavier.
Adrienne, yeah, it seems like more problems piling up over at Boeing. I mean, you speak to people in the aviation industry, they say at least the ripple effects from this most recent mid-air scare with that Boeing 737 MAX 9 plane hasn't even been felt yet. Yes, that is despite the hundreds, now thousands of flights that have been canceled. But when you take a look at the big picture, Boeing was expecting to resume deliveries of that 737 MAX jets, to China this month. The market there is set to account for 1/5 of the world's airline deliveries in the next couple of decades. That's according to Boeing. However, those deliveries now reportedly on hold after the most recent incident involving the 737 MAX 9 door plug blowing out at 16,000 feet. Combine that with two fatal 737 MAX 8 crashes back in 2018 and 2019, which also led to major delivery delays. It has been a turbulent relationship for Boeing in China.
These are airplanes with precious cargo on board, people. So you can't skimp or forget about quality control of what you make and send out to the airlines.
All right, so the Alaska Airlines plane was assembled by Spirit Aerosystems, but many believe that the blame falls on Boeing and its failure to oversee the work of its supplier or catch the defect. So, for that reason, the inspection process of the MAX 9 planes is under heavy scrutiny. Boeing and Alaska Airlines say they are improving that process so they can return those planes to service. Meantime, Nick, the FAA continues to investigate, and simultaneously, lawmakers pushing for, Boeing to enforce more safety regulations and also apply penalties for this most recent incident.
And Xavier, it looks like everyone is pointing the finger, but at the end of the day, consumers just want to know that when they board that plane, that it will be safe. Xavier Walton, thank you so much. Are voters looking for someone other than President Biden and Trump, turning to another candidate? Well, why Robert F. Kennedy Jr., running as an independent, is being viewed as a strong alternative, especially among conservatives.
Introducing Ned's plaque psoriasis.
Ned, what are you wearing?
He thinks his flaky red patches are all people see.
Otezla is the #1 prescribed pill to treat plaque psoriasis.
Ned?
It can help you get clearer skin and reduce itching and flaking with no routine blood tests required. Doctors have been prescribing it for nearly a decade. Otezla is also approved to treat psoriatic arthritis. Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Serious allergic reactions can happen. Otezla may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Some people taking Otezla had depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss. Upper respiratory tract infection and headache may occur.
With clear skin, movie night is a groovy night. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla.
Shingles. Some describe it as pulsing electric shocks or sharp stabbing pains. This painful blistering rash can disrupt your life for weeks. A pain so intense, you could miss out on family time. The virus that causes shingles is likely already inside of you. If you're 50 years or older, ask your doctor or pharmacist about shingles.
Here's why you should switch from Google to DuckDuckGo on all your devices. DuckDuckGo comes with a built-in search engine like Google, but it's private and doesn't spy on your searches. And DuckDuckGo lets you browse like Chrome, but it blocks cookies and creepy ads that follow you around from Google and other companies. And there's no catch. It's free. We make money from ads, but they don't follow you around. Join the millions of people taking back their privacy by downloading DuckDuckGo on all your devices today.
Professor Lewis. Dr. Freud. Why would you come to see me if you disagree so passionately with my views?
To make you realize that you're wrong.
Well done. Good.
You've insisted the very concept of God is ludicrous.
An insidious lie.
Well, I disagree.
Of course you disagree. You hide behind your ignorance.
Truth is, you're terrified.
We're all terrified before death.
Freud's Last Session, rated PG-13, now playing select cities only in theaters.
I brought in Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein.
Those who tried me felt more energy in just 2 weeks. Here, I'll take that.
Ensure Max Protein, 30 grams protein, 1 gram sugar, 25 vitamins and minerals, and a new fiber blend with a prebiotic.
Consumer Cellular, this is Sam. How may I help you? This is a butt dial. Well, somebody's butt.
Just thought I'd let you know that with Consumer Cellular,
you can get the same exact coverage as the leading carriers, but
for up to half the price.
Remember the things you loved before asthma got in the way?
Fasenra is an add-on treatment for asthma driven by eosinophils. It's designed to target and remove them and helps prevent asthma attacks. Fasenra is not for sudden breathing problems or other eosinophilic conditions. Allergic reactions may occur. Don't stop your asthma treatments without talking with your doctor. Tell your doctor if your asthma worsens. Headache and sore throat may occur. Tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection. Get back to better breathing. Ask your doctor about Fasenra.
I'm super excited. I was expecting it. We love President Trump in Iowa.
A resounding victory in Iowa for President Trump, winning the state's caucuses in a landslide. It's on to the New Hampshire primary 1 week from today. This morning, a look at where Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis stand. Plus, the suspect in New York's Gilgo Beach murders could face a new charge in the death of another woman.
I do think it will bring a sense of potential closure and potential justice.
Details on the possible indictment. And there could be more problems for Boeing following that mid-air scare. The overseas concern facing the company and how it might affect your next flight or next vacation. And just like that, a nearly